Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Hi, Sarah.
Awesome. You're on. This is so exciting. This is the first time I have done this. So I was thinking, is this tech going to work? Does my microphone work?
Seems pretty easy.
Yeah, we're in. So, hi, everyone. If you're jumping in, it's really great. We can see Melaman and some others. Everyone's waving. So, thank you for the waves and the hearts.
Oh, I just said that and now I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, you can hear me? Can you hear? So let me know if you can hear me, everybody. Hey guys, hey Sean.
I still
Can
can't hear you, Sarah. Maybe I should exit and come back.
yeah, try that. Hello everybody, as you're joining, we're just waiting for Ilaria and Rami to join this mind mapping exploration discussion. Rami is actually currently waiting for his medal. He's just finished a competition today. So Rami's waiting for his medal, bless him, and Ilaria can't hear. Apparently, no one can hear me. No one can hear me? I'm going to take this off and tell. Can you hear me now? David, can you hear me? Yes, you can hear? It's always a fun process when you're trying to. Yeah, we got Ilaria is coming in, and Rami is coming in. Yes, Ilaria's back.
Hi. I can hear you now. We're gonna laugh. Hi,
Hey!
Rami.
Hello guys.
You're actually in a pool right
Wait.
now. How awesome is that?
I have 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, they will start with the prize ceremony. Sorry for that.
Don't be sorry, Rami. It's amazing you can fit us in after, like, just after your competition.
Yeah, I thought we finished earlier, but they had dynamic disciplines after as well. Yeah.
You should tell them. You should be like, do you know who I am? What are you doing? I'm on a schedule.
Exactly. Give me my medal. I want to go. Here is the
Oh, well,
result.
it's
Maybe
good.
I can show you the results from today. Very
Oh,
static.
we are seeing the.
Very static. 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 No. Where is Rami? Here. 8:59 today.
Hey!
Nice. Well done.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
while you guys are here, I'm going to, because everyone's joining, I'm
Yeah.
going to do a quick introduction just so that people know, although people probably already know. But
Yes.
I'm Sarah from Train Freediving, so I co-own Train Freediving, and joined with us today for this mind mapping exploration is Ilaria. And Ilaria is currently in Egypt with us. She's been doing some coaching for the last few months. And yeah, Ilaria is actually normally based in Nice at the Bluenery Academy, where she's a freediving instructor. So we're really great that Ilaria can be with us today to talk about this mind mapping. And joined with us, hopefully for a bit longer than 5 minutes, is Rami. And we coached Rami last year for the Swedish World Championships, where Rami set the static national record at 9 minutes 8. Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
and in the same competition also smashed the Bifins national record. So
Yeah.
it was a really good year for you. And obviously this week it just blew up when we started to talk about this mind mapping. And for me, so we're doing this breath hold challenge. I should set the context a bit more. We're doing this breath hold challenge, Train Freediving, this month, and lots of people have signed up to do a 4-week challenge to get a new static personal best. So we've been checking in about that, and as part of the process, one of our followers, Marco, started this really interesting discussion about mind mapping, and I was like, what is mind mapping? this is like a new term for me. And subsequently, a whole bunch of you just started messaging in and saying about all these different ways that you do mind mapping. And Rami and obviously Ilaria both joined in that discussion. And I just got super curious about it, you know, really understanding what is mind mapping, like how do we mind map, and like what's the best way to go about it, and are there any like issues that come up as you're doing it. So really this discussion came about from that. And today, that's what we're really looking to explore, just to kind of have people's questions answered and just to understand a bit more about the subject, because apparently everyone's doing it, but also there's a lot of people curious about whether they're doing it right or not. So I just want to kick off really with kind of asking you guys the question, like, what do you think is mind mapping? Should we start with Ilaria?
I actually came across mind mapping for the first time when I was at university, and then forgot all about it. I studied psychology, and in one of my classes, in my cognitive psychology class, we were taught the theory of the magical number 7 plus or minus 2. And yeah, very long name. It's this theory that that says that we can remember at any given time 7 pieces of information plus or minus 2 in our short-term memory. And so basically, if you're going to remember random things, random names, it's going to be easy for you if it's between 5 and 9. And any more than that, you'll find it's going to be a struggle. So how do you remember more than 7 things plus or minus 2, and how do you access your long-term memory? So there are strategies, and one of them is mind mapping. And there are competitions where people test their memories, and they remember like thousands of digits. And the way they do this is by storing these pieces of information on, for example, it could be a very familiar street that they know, or a very familiar building, and they just store information along this street or building, and then they just go and recollect it where they've stored it in order to remember it.
So what you mean essentially is, in your head, you're
Yes.
literally creating a map where there's these points of information. So you're walking down a street and there's a post box, and in the post box you put a piece of information. I'm just laughing. If anyone's joining now and they're not clued into what's happening with Rami. Rami is at a competition and he's picking up his medal. Oh, he's got his medal. Well done. Yay.
Sorry, now I'm back.
Well done.
Look at this medal. It looks so fun. It's a weight.
Yeah. Oh, it's a weight. Nice.
Do you think that they didn't have the budget this year? Oh, this is wonderful. So this is a really good example of what we're talking about in action. Rami's just finished his comp and he probably had this mind mapping process going on. So
yeah,
I can't wait to
it
talk
was
about
like 1
that
hour
in a
ago.
second. I can't wait to talk to you about that. But we're just going, Ilaria's just explaining very simply this process of, in this way, mind mapping. And like what she's saying is, you essentially create a map in your mind with these different points where you collect information. So carry on, Ilaria. I just want to make sure I have that correct.
Yeah, it's just a mnemonic strategy. I mean, everyone does it intuitively. Like when you were a kid, I'm sure that like in science class, I remember trying to remember planets, and instead of memorizing all the names, you create like a sentence by using the first letter of each planet. And like my very easy method, just speeds up nothing, is a way of remembering. It's just associating, adding meaning to something as a way of remembering it better. And so mind mapping is a very elaborate version of this, basically.
So what, Rami, what would you describe as mind mapping then? What's your version of that?
Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
What I said is, what would you describe as mind mapping? Because Ilaria's just given this explanation, and I'm interested to hear what you think as well. What you would how would you define it?
Mind mapping for me is like to plan how to think during a performance. So like today I had a vision. I used that. And I have like different type of mind mapping, and I use them when I need them. So for example, if I feel I'm struggling, I'm a bit nervous, I use this one. If I'm very comfortable, I use this one that I used today. So I have like 4 or 5 kind of plans how to think during the performance. I'm building a picture in my head, so maybe a story, and I follow it. And I tell myself it's okay if it changes, if it goes in different directions, but I try to go back to same like story. When I'm struggling, if I'm nervous, if I feel that my heart rate is high, I have the one I wrote to you in Instagram, that I'm thinking that it's a marathon run. I'm run with the group. I might try to stand on the last. I'm the last person in the group, so we run in the half 3/4 of the run. I'm still the last person. When the contraction starts, I think that I'm okay in the middle of the race. Now I'm trying to stand in the middle of the group. So in my head, I'm playing with that. I'm struggling with contractions. I feel the hypoxia is coming, but I'm still to go back to that mind, to that story. Okay, now we are 3 person left. The others are tired. We go. And the last part is the sprint. But today it wasn't like that because I felt comfortable. So I used another strategy. It was just to be there, and every time I have something's coming up in my head, I try to just put it away, just be there and listen to my coach. And in this case, when I feel like that, I tell my coach, I'm in good shape, surprise me. So surprise me by that I mean tell me the time when you want. I don't wait to that he tells me, okay, it's now 4:30 or you have 3 minutes left. He just give me a number. It was 4:50 first time, and the second one was 6:15, so on. But in the end, the last part is always the same. No matter what type of plan we have, it's always the same. That's the most important. Of like open your eyes, try to be ready. But today I felt so good, so I was like, no, let me be there. I was pushing me forward because he felt that I had hypoxia. I get an LMC, so it was good that he coached me. So mind mapping for me is to plan for the performance and have different options and use them when you need them.
So it's kind of, the mind mapping is a combination then of creating a narrative. You're organizing that beforehand, so it's not just following a train of thought or purely creative visualization. It is the idea that you're planning that before you're going into this threshold.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Interesting. So how do you, right now we're getting into how do you do that bit. So you're going to sit down and you're thinking you need a new narrative or you want to start a narrative. How do you go about that? Let's start with Ilaria.
I agree with what you were saying, Rami, that it really depends on what day it is, on how your static is going. Because on a very good day, I just want to be left alone for as long as possible, and I will choose to use something that's very similar to Yoga Nidra, a body scan, or kind of using deconcentration as a form of concentration. I feel that on good days, this is what's best for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree on having sort of a mind map and different solutions for different parts of the static. So, for example, when contractions start, I'll choose to use a certain type of visualization. And for me, what's very important is that it's always like very, very positively connotated. So something that will make me smile, and something that has a lot of different stimuli, different types of stimuli. So sound, smell, noise, movement, touch, so that it's
give me
even
an
more vivid.
example. Give us an
Okay,
example.
well, a good one that worked really well for me was when I was training static. I'd just been to India for 2 months before that, and I was doing yoga every day in this very beautiful shala, and I was doing Ashtanga, so I know the sequence by heart, so it's very easy for me to replay it in my head. And I always had the same person next to me. And in that big shala, there was incense burning. So I had that smell, and the ceiling was very high. So there was a lot of echo sound, and I remember sweating a lot. It's always very humid in the south of India. So I had a lot of different stimuli that I could recall, and that would make my visualization easier to visualize. And then if the contractions get very hard and I need extra help, then I would add on the opening mantra that we would sing. And it's a mantra, so it's in Sanskrit. I have no idea really what it says, but it's very long, and it helps me out during contractions. And then at other points, I know that a different part of the map will be, okay, coach, I really need you right now. I'm going to open my eyes, and basically I want to know the time every 15 seconds, basically, and that's what's going to help me out most. So yeah, I agree. It's different types of strategies that you can use, and you don't have to just do yoga nidra or just visualize.
So I just want to kind of take it back a second. So really then a mind map is using a combination of various strategies at different points throughout the static. So it's a map. The static is the journey, and then these strategies happen at different points of the static. Is that right?
Intuitively, that's what I do, and that's what I apply. And to me, it's very similar to the mind mapping that I was introduced to in my psychology classes like 10 years ago. Yeah. Rami, what would you say?
Yes, I would say the same. But we can start from how and when I create this mind mapping. Because for me, I don't have a plan from the beginning. It starts from the training. So let's say during a training, I get an idea or a thought, and I start to build it during that time. Just a second. We just were setting the car. Okay, now. So let's say my first training, I'm holding my breath. I'm struggling around 4 minutes. Okay. I was thinking on something. I try to remember that. I try to build something out of it. So in the end of the training period of like 3-4 weeks, I have a story. So I try to keep that way. And all days are not, every day is not the same. So every day, if I feel in that way, okay, I use the other one. So I build these stories, the strategies during the training. So I don't have a plan. I don't tell myself, okay, this is how it should be. About the one I told you about the marathon, I was listening to a podcast, a runner, he was using that. So I remember I was in the training. So after 2 minutes, I remember that about his podcast when he said during a marathon, he tried to think that it's so easy that he don't need to go run faster, but he's still close to it. So I used that. I took that strategy to myself, and I started build something out of it.
So when you're using this process, guys, I have so many questions. I'm trying to like hold my questions back. It's like so many questions. But when you're using this process, a lot of people, and myself included, although I haven't trained so much static and I'm not so much maybe in the discomfort phases that longer statics hold. But when that discomfort comes in, contractions, urge to breathe, whatever, how does the process that you apply, this process of mind mapping and picking out these strategies, how does that change the way you feel? How does that make it improved?
It's improved when I'm struggling, I use the strategy. So otherwise I don't use it. So it's only when I have problem, and it's maybe giving me 1 or 2 or 3 minutes more. The more I train,
that's a lot.
The more I know that. Sorry.
Yes, this might be seconds for regular people.
Yeah, I was just laughing, Rami, because you said this gives you like 2 or 3 minutes more, but that's like my whole static.
Yes. Yeah, but for me, it's like sometimes I come up because I take a decision too fast. So if I've been training just not enough, I don't have that like mindset or strategy to use it. So the more I train, the more I have like options to use. So the continuity of training for me is very important, because the more I train, the more I remember all these strategies to use them. Okay, now I'm struggling with this. Because I know in a good day, if I push, I can come up to 9 minutes, but the problem is how to overcome the problem with in my head.
And do you have different types of visualizations, or is it always the marathon one?
No, I have the different. It depends of my feeling. So after, let's say I'm packing, I hear the official top, and then I close my eyes and I feel okay. I feel good. It's not too much air in my lungs. It's enough. Now I can just relax and think about something good. But if it's like, okay, I packed a little bit too much or too little, then I have to use something to find the way to not think about it. If I think about the problem, it will be bad.
There's a question popped up, and it's a similar, I think it's just for clarity. We want to know, is it the case that before you go into your breath hold, Rami, you're not planning anything necessarily that you're going to do, but when you get into the static, depending on how it's going, then you decide. And
exactly. So I have 4 or 5 options, and I use it when after the feeling.
Yeah,
because
got it.
I've been using like visualizations, like, okay, it has to be like that. When I start, I will use that method. But the problem is, after 1-2 minutes, something will change. Every dive is not perfect. So it depends on how I feel. I have to change the mindset.
And Ilaria, what about you? Do you have a set types of, you mentioned the one about the yoga, and that was really beautiful. And do you have different ones, or do you always use the same one?
No, I have different ones. A beach would always work for me, a sunset. Actually, diving, like picturing a hang underwater, might work. That also offers lots of different stimuli that you can use to make your visualization and your mental images stronger. And I totally agree with the not picking a predetermined strategy and just seeing how it goes. Because in the beginning, I was taught, like when I was a very beginner, by my first instructor taught me to use visualization. So that's what I was doing in the beginning. Like I would start holding my breath and then press play on my favorite visualization. But then as I got better, I realized that actually just listening to my body and to what was going on around me was helping me more. So I go back to visualizations when I start struggling. And what's I think also very important is training with that your coach really knows you, so that he knows what to do when you're struggling, and or she
props to the good female coaches out there too.
What's Pete saying? Hello, Pete. I think Rami doesn't map per se, or what she's saying now.
I already asked the questions. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, how would you guys recommend? Because again, a lot that was coming through when we were asking the question, do you do mind mapping? A lot of people were like commenting that they were doing a variation of everything you're saying. So some people were just really being with their bodies and really experiencing their sensations and kind of being hyper aware of what was going on. There was people doing that, and then there were people going on these like memory journeys, and then there were people that were doing like mind palace exploration, finding things and retrieving them from different places. And then there were people that were visualizing like a story, like you're saying. So essentially none of those things are wrong, they're all right. Is that correct?
I mean, one could argue that on a good day, a yoga nidra strategy or a relaxation strategy would maybe be more efficient than using visualization. Does that make sense? Because I've heard some people say before that visualizing like uses a bit of your energy.
Right. Okay. Yes. Someone asked about that actually.
Yeah. I don't know how you can quantify it, like how much oxygen an image might use up, but I've heard that before.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And
it's a good point.
Yeah, that works.
I think we would need somebody to put pads on your brain and watch actually what was happening during this process, I feel.
Yeah.
So how would you guys recommend someone get started? People are training static, and a lot of people are intimidated by static. Sorry, my dog's crying. If someone wanted to get started with some of the strategies that you're talking about, how would you recommend doing that?
I would say you will find it by training. If you train, like if you start to struggle during the training, write it down. Okay, my problem today was when I came to 2:30, I was thinking of that. Okay, I have too much contractions. I can make it, and maybe try to make something that give you 30 seconds more. Like, okay, I can take my nose clip off. I can open my eyes. I take only my left hand front of me, and then the second hand, and I go slowly I come up, and that will give me 30 seconds. And next time I maybe have like, so you have to train and try it and build up these different type of strategies. That's my recommendation. So to train and try.
That's really interesting. I like that idea of having that awareness and then coming out of it and writing down the problem, like you said, the problem. That was really interesting. Like at 2 minutes 30, this happened, or around that, this happened. So what can I do? I think that's really empowering. And what about you, Ilaria? What would you say about how someone could get started?
I do think that for a beginner, a visualization might help, and then little by little, using something different, like concentrating on what's going on around you. Having a buddy, someone to coach you, also helps a lot, I think, in the beginning. And just doing lots of static is the best. Then your body kind of understands and get used to what's going on, and I think it gets easier and easier.
That's really good advice. And so I guess that builds into my next question, which was around what are, common problems that you think might come up for people?
You mean the common problem?
Yeah, common problem. So yes, what would be like a problem that someone might come up against? Because I think this sounds like a really useful, I mean, we should temper all of this with saying that obviously mind mapping is a really useful technique to be used with the training, but you still need, a proper training program that you follow over a period of time in order to build up. So this is a technique.
You have one of those, Sarah.
Pardon?
Do you have one of those, Sarah, that you could recommend?
We might do, yeah. But yeah, you used with a proper training program, this sort of techniques will give you that focus, give you that awareness, and from what you guys are saying, give you more time to be in the moment with that, where some people are struggling. So yeah, what problems do you think have you come up against with focusing, and would you recommend to help avoid that with some of the mind mapping stuff?
Rami?
I would say listen to some good free divers at your club and use their strategy and try it by yourself and see if that works for you. That's a good start. And a good start is always to scan your body from head to toe, back, to let the time go. Because you have to start from somewhere, and usually you use the things you hear from people around you. That's it, and then you will find it. I don't know.
I think what's also important about what you just said is that, like, find what works for you. I think a lot of people might get caught up in this idea that there's this one perfect way of doing something, and if they don't do this one perfect way, then they're not doing it right or they're getting it wrong. But like you said, trying out these different ideas and then thinking what works for you, and then working and exploring that more.
Totally. I have some students that love knowing the time towards the end of their static. I'm one of those. And then other students who tell me, can you please shut up next time? I don't want to know. I don't want to hear your voice. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And that's great, because they're understanding who they are and how they like their static better. And you have to explore in the beginning. That's why I was saying just do more static, and then you'll find out what works for you, what doesn't. If you're going to hyperventilate or not, or a little bit, like so much exploring to do with static.
Definitely. I think the exploration is also key. You guys clearly have been experimenting, playing, kind of enjoying the process of the training. And static is one of those things where a lot of people kind of, and myself included, I mean, I am, you know, I love the pool, I love training in the pool, I love everything about the pool. I've been training depth now for a while as well, but pool is definitely my heart place. But static has always been that thing that I'm like, I'll just put it over there. But this year I was like, you know, I'm going to do it. I want to, like, you know, explore what that's like for me. And I've been really blown away actually by how much I've enjoyed it this month, and how much just having that time, you know, to sit there and be with myself and explore what's happening and just enjoying holding my breath. I've been really surprised. So I guess your advice really is just kind of get curious and enjoy it, and don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have to believe it, believe on it. When you build something, okay, that's fit me, it's good for me. I like this idea, I like this plan, this strategy, and then you have to believe on it. Because if you start to think maybe that's not a good idea, maybe I shouldn't think of that, then it will not work. But if you believe 100% on it, okay, that will give me 1 minute more. I believe on that. Okay, that maybe you will have problems with the hypoxia and this stuff, but it will push your limits a little bit more. So the belief is very important too.
So the self-belief that, yeah, I guess, like you say, it's buying into the narrative that you're making in your mind.
Yeah.
So what would be the final, I think we've covered so much, and this is still, I'm sure people have still got loads of questions. So if you have a question while you're on the live, please just drop a comment and we can ask the guys and gals before they go. But while people are doing that, do you have any just final takeaways that you really want people to know about the process of mind mapping and using these different techniques? Ilaria.
Yeah, try different things, be creative. I know that I have a mental image of what my static is going to be, and it is like a map. There's a central theme, it's the static, and then it just branches out into the different parts of it. The relaxation phase where everything is easy, and then the start of the breath hold, that is bliss, and then I see the contraction phase and the final phase. So I have it split in different parts in my brain, and then depending on the day and how it's going, I'll choose to use a different strategy, and the one that I feel is more appropriate for that day. So I actually picture it like walking down a beach that I know by heart and that I love. And I've got the start of the beach, it's the palm trees with the yoga nidra part. And then the first bungalows are the first contractions. And I'll start the visualization if I feel that I need one at that point. And then I keep walking, and there's this beach bar, and that's going to be the mantra if I feel like I need more than just a visualization. And then the end of the beach is I need my buddy at this point. I need some coaching, I need some countdowns. Oh yeah, countdowns I really like. That's a strategy that helps me a lot. So yeah, it's just picturing and separating into different parts and trying different things.
Quick question on that. Do you ever get just like pulled out? You know, like you're in this bit, because I do it a lot when I'm doing my static. I often visualize myself doing a dynamic. So I'm in this, I experience the flow, I get to the point where I'm like turning, I can see myself turning, I'm doing all of that. And then sometimes I'm like, ooh, dinner plans. Do you ever get distracted out of your, you know, you're doing this lovely static and you're in this place, and then you're out of it? And then do you ever get that?
No.
This is why I'm interviewing you two and you're not interviewing me.
No, of course it happens. Of course it happens.
You wicked one. And Rami, do you ever experience that where you're trying to focus in your narrative and then you just get pulled out?
Yeah, I had a lot, of course. But my recommendation is to not focus on the problem and what will come next, because the next thing is the problem. The next thing may be the contractions, lower oxygen, lower SpO2. So it will be more worse. So just focus on your follow your plan, and when the contractions comes, yeah, it's part of the game. So
Yeah.
just follow the plan, and if you focus too much on the problem, and then the problem will be bigger and you will give up. If your problem is that you give up too early, but some people they push until they black out. That's another problem. So maybe they didn't push so much. So it depends, of course. I've been struggling with mostly with dynamic, because I don't train dynamic as much as I do in static. But recently I've been using the strategies that I use in static. So I dive very slow. I try to think that 100 meters is like my 5 minutes, and then so on. I try to build these different strategies in that as well. And it's going good. You have to train again, and try again. Yeah.
I agree with what you said about contractions. They're definitely going to be part of the game. You can't hate them. You kind of have to. Once someone told me, that when you get a contraction, you actually feel better right after. It does give you a little bit of relief, and if you can just concentrate on that rather than picturing it as this evil thing that's happening to you, it is going to help you. And yeah.
I would like to say, I think it's important again that we coach a lot about this comfort diving and as much as possible contraction free diving. Now, when you're getting to the points you're doing these statics that Ilaria and Rami are doing, you can't get away from the contractions happening. At the point where you're doing 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, it's going to happen. But there is a process that you can go by. There is, through your programming, you can train and learn to have your contractions come later, have them be less strong, have them be more comfortable, understand them better. So I think that is really important, because I think a lot of people do get hung up on this like obsession with contractions. Oh no, the contractions. But contractions are trainable. And not only from a physical point of view, but also from a mindset point of view. So I think both of, having the right kind of programming and having the right tools for, what you're talking about is the right combination.
Yes.
Yeah, if you wait for contractions, they will come earlier. That's my experience. If you wait for them, you just wait and wait. As soon you feel a little bit of the contractions, you will, and then it will start. So the best thing is to have your mind somewhere else than the contractions.
Yeah. I think that's true of life as well. People forget that it's the same sort of thing. Whatever you're focusing your attention on, you're going to bring closer to you. So if you're
like manifesting.
Sorry, Dal?
Like manifesting something.
Yeah, kind of, whatever people believe, but we are a great believer in where your attention goes, your focus goes. So if your focus is, your attention, your focus is on, oh my God, like Rami's saying, when am I going to get a contraction? When am it's going to be discomfort? Oh my God, it's going to be uncomfortable going into it. You're going to attract that to you. But if you go in with it, how's this going to feel? Oh, I'm super curious. Oh, this is an interesting feeling. Let's go with it. What's happening now? That is the right kind of curiosity mindset that is applicable to static, dynamic, depth. And that is from what you're both saying, you can then take out of your breath hold and write down or understand better, and then problem solve and come back with a solution.
Yes.
We nailed it. We did it. We
Sorry
solved
guys,
it.
I live in the city, the big city, so my internet will be very bad soon. I'm like middle of the nowhere, so I have to say goodbye before it's happened.
Yeah, I think we have done a great job. I think we've really covered a lot in the subject, and I'm sure people have got more questions. And then, would it be okay if someone does have a question, if they can get in touch with you, Ilaria, or get in touch with you, Rami, and just ask you a question about what we've talked about?
Yes, you're welcome.
Of course, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both for joining. Thank you, Rami, for coming up your call.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ilaria.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.